This is Drop In, Drop Out, the weekly podcast where a mix of 7 gamers come together for an open and engaging conversation all about video games. Tonight, we got a bonus drop for you. We're reviewing Assassin's Creed Shadows game provided by Ubisoft. Thank you, Ubisoft. And joining me this week, the homie JakeTwitchin. Jake, how you doing?
Hey, yo, I'm doing great. The only downside of talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows with you all is that I am not currently playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Let's get this shot. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's fucking get it.
Happy to be here.
Also joining us for this bonus drop, Jerica Henna, aka Jerica. Jerica, how you doing?
Good. I align with Jake. Like it's all I want to do is play. I want to climb in those shadows and try my best to hide.
We are aligned. Also joining us today, already in the chat, Cirrus Shard. Welcome in. Cirrus Shard was also the homie today when they were here for the nearly 4-hour stream that I did on twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod, which we will be doing more Assassin's Creed Shadow streams on the channel in the coming days. But tonight, the three of us have been playing it, and now we're going to talk about it. First, let's start with how much we've played and like overview general thoughts. If we feel like we want to give it a score, we can, but you know, it's early. So we got the game in advance, but we didn't get the game in advance. We got the game yesterday. Whereas anybody that posted a review already yesterday when the embargo lifted, they got it. Who knows how long ago, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. But once that embargo lifted, we got the codes. So we've been playing as much as we can in the last 24 30 hours, whatever. So Jake, let's start with you. How much have you played and what are your thoughts so far of Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Yeah, I am a little more than 4 hours in, I think, like 3 on stream, an hour and a half off stream. And I really like it. And I think we'll get into this further, but if I'm scoring this game right now, and I feel like it reminds me of like when you interview somebody, I always say like after shaking someone's hand and talking to them, you know within 30 seconds if you're going to hire them or not. Like I can pretty much play a game for a couple hours and tell you what my score is going to be within like a point or two.
Sure.
And I'm throwing a 9 on this. Like yeah. And I think the reason why I'm doing that is because it's just good Assassin's Creed. It's not reinventing the wheel. And I think that a little bit of the Assassin's Creed fatigue has been lifted because it's not a yearly game anymore. I was hot on Mirage. I was burnt out by the time I got to Valhalla. I am so locked back in for another run around, kill thing, clear bases, take out enemies, learn secrets type of game. Really enjoying myself so far.
9. How about that? Jerica, how about you? How much you playing and what's your overall impression so far?
Yeah, similar to Jake, like the last 2 or 3 Assassin's Creed games I've really loved, and we'll get into more about that in a little bit. But yeah, right off the get-go, like we have been just drooling, like salivating and waiting for Assassin's Creed to go to Japan. Like we've been waiting for that setting since Ghost of Tsushima. I think even before then, people were like, "I'm so ready to go to Japan." We got Ghost, and that was, and you know, I'm eager to compare the two. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna compare.
Yeah, come on, we must.
You know, I've always been a fan of Assassin's Creed games because I feel like it's one of those. It's like the Elden Ring game that I can play, and not even like leaning in so hard into the RPG elements, but like there's parries, there's rolls.
Yeah,
you can get out of harm's way. I'm sure at some point there's a skill tree in this one too, and I like that kind of experience where I don't feel like it's too hard for me to handle. It's got the Jerica level parry, which I know might not be the hardest thing in the book, but I'm enjoying it and it's fun. I love the story. I love sneaking around, and I think Shadow specifically is a really refreshing take on where they're going with this story in Japan, like having 2 main characters that are quite different. And I'm excited to get more of how their story intertwines, but I love how different they are. So yeah, without getting too into the weeds with it, because I already am, I would give it, there's definitely a lot of butter on my roll. It's not completely soaked, but it is a 4 out of 5 for me. Wow. I don't know if we have a review scale like officially for drop out, but I have 4 rolls. 4 rolls are completely buttered. I can't give it a 5 out of 5 yet.
Sure.
I'm gonna play a little bit more.
Okay. So I've played the most of the three of us. I'm at about 7 to 8 hours. I put in a couple hours, almost 3 last night off stream, and then today was just under 4 hours. And I played a little bit before I streamed this morning as well. So yeah, maybe like 7.5, 8-ish. And I'm not quite as high as both of you. I am having a very good time. I'll say this. I was having the best time last night. I think the prologue in this game is so fucking good. It's taking you down a hallway and showing you the story that they want to show you. And we get some Yasuke, we get some Naoe, really introduces the world in I think a really, really nice way. But today I had a lot of trouble with this game on stream. But I think part of it is kind of my own fault in ways. There was one particular segment that I was in where I was at this castle and I was just like dead set on killing a certain number of enemies to be able to open a chest. And it took me like an hour and a half to do that because the place was so big. There were 5 of them. They were all stronger than me. Like it was tough, but I ultimately, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it, but it was one of those things where, if I've put 7 hours in, nearly 2 hours of that time was frustrating. So it's like, in terms of percentage, a large percentage of my time has been frustrating. However, I think what you were saying, Jerica, where, we're finally in Japan, we're in the Sengoku era, excuse me. And so there's already like a little bit of a difference with Ghost of Tsushima because this one, enemies have guns, which I don't remember them having guns in Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think. And yeah, someone correct me if I'm wrong because it's been, a few years in a pandemic since I played it. But I'm like itching to get back to Yasuke. I really like playing as Naoe. I think they've upgraded the stealth in a lot of ways. But that tiny bit that you get at the beginning of the game as Yasuke, as power fantasy fucking trip, busting through doors. I'm like, give me that. I want that more, especially that like hour and a half period where I was just kind of getting my face kicked in. And it's the kind of thing too where we've had 2 delays of the game, and I'm a little surprised at how many issues I'm having with like running into geometry and like I'm trying to roll out of the way, but instead I start climbing down a thing. It's like there are those little like things were getting in my way. But overall, like I'm having a very good time. I can't wait. Once, like both of you said, once we're done, I'm gonna go play more because I'm really enjoying my time. If I had to put a number on it right now, just off camera, there's something pointed at my head. I would probably land at like a 7 out of 10. But I'm hoping, and I'm kind of expecting that number will go up for me. I'm curious, did either of you have any sort of like performance issues or?
I think I can speak to like, I'm excited to put my PS5 Pro to the test here. I'm eager to see like, there's some science behind what's happening with this game and the PS5 Pro. With performance mode, from what I could understand, I'm not a tech guru, so when you hear me say this, you might be able to make it make sense. But it does utilize like ray tracing in performance mode, which is pretty nice. And like compared to, what are y'all playing on? I didn't even ask.
Oh yeah, they asked in the chat and I forgot to answer.
Yeah,
Huh?
I'm on base PS5, a PS5 Slim.
Okay.
Over here.
Okay.
And I'm on Xbox Series X.
Oh, look at this variety.
Okay. We're so good at running a podcast.
Yeah.
We planned that. But yeah, like I am shocked from my experience, like how well it's running on the PS5 Pro. Like it's smooth as butter. There was a couple, like one area outside of like when you first start the game that it I don't know, I can't explain it, but the frame rate dropped, but the character looks super smooth.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
very strange. I know Ubisoft has like their internal thing that's supposed to help performance, and this isn't using the PlayStation's fancy AI stuff yet. I think there's a rumor that might be
on the phone.
We need to get him on the phone. I need to ask him, but I think that might be coming. I was reading online. I don't know. That could be take that with a grain of salt, but that might be utilized soon. But yeah, it's running really smooth for me. I'm not having any issues.
Very nice.
Well, that's nice.
I had a hard crash. It is worth noting there are some known bugs, and also these guys are a little new when it comes to playing AAA games ahead of release date. We're missing our day one patch, which when you think about it, there is a team that is very much all hands on deck at this very moment while we're talking to work out those last minute kinks. And it's amazing how many things come together during that day one patch and that day 4 patch that we'll inevitably get as well.
I've never played an Assassin's Creed game that is so far running this smoothly. So I am very impressed. And just the fact we haven't gotten that yet is wild to me.
I prefaced that with news of my hard crash that I had to restart my PlayStation on. But it was during like a flashback cutscene. The cutscene just stopped existing, and then you could hear background noise, and then you could hear no background noise, and I had to turn my console off.
I'm interested to see if, as more people get their hands on the sticks, because I'm the only one playing on an Xbox, I wonder if that's also potentially part of it. I wanted to play on PS5, but I did not for marital reasons, so that Rose could be playing the PlayStation while I'm playing this game for review. Before we jump too much,
thruple with Phil Spencer.
Well, say that one more time. You cut out for a second.
Because you guys are in a thruple with Phil Spencer.
That's exactly right.
Marital reasons.
Daddy Phil, myself, and Rose all in it to win it, brother. Before we jump too much more into this game, even though that's why we're here, I would love to hear about our history with the franchise, because it's been several years since we had an Assassin's Creed game like this. We had Mirage a couple years ago, October 22 or 3, I forget which, I think 3. But the last time we had an open world this big was Valhalla, which was, I don't even remember the year. That might have been 2020. So, Jake, starting with you, what is your history with the franchise and your general impressions of it?
Yeah, I go all the way back to like the Game Informer cover story for Assassin's Creed 1 or Electronic Gaming Monthly or whoever was covering it at that time, where, the Prince of Persia team has adapted this game into something brand new. And I played Assassin's Creed 1 and was underwhelmed and was kind of scared of that franchise for a little bit. Before Assassin's Creed 3 came out, I went back and played Assassin's Creed 2, fell in love with the series. I think the Assassin's Creed 1 was a bad indicator of what the series would become. I think it had the bones, it had the outline, but it just wasn't perfect. And I have become a lifelong Assassin's Creed fan. It's funny, I was talking to my chat about it, you have the podcast going on. There's a lot of moving pieces there. We were all getting advanced codes for it. I was prepping the stream and looking at embargo dates. And for a little while, I almost kind of forgot how big of a fan of Assassin's Creed I am. I don't think I've missed one. I don't think there's one that I haven't played. There are some that I've liked more than others. I think 2 Brotherhood Origins are probably my favorite ones overall. I also like 3 quite a bit, but yeah, I've got a fair amount of experience with them. I got a little burnt out after Origins. I never finished Odyssey, and I only got a few hours into Valhalla, but I really, really fell back in love with Mirage.
Nice. Jerica, how about you?
I've also played the first 3. I was from the get-go, I was really interested in the story, and the gameplay was brand new, sneaking around like that, jumping off towers into hay, that's the assassin's way. But really it fell off after that. I could not tell you story-wise, narrative-wise, what the hell's going on in Assassin's Creed anymore. It's wild. And a lot of stuff is connected, and I know in the moment when I've played the games, I'll look up stuff, but I need to look that up again. And so I got a little bit removed from it in between there. I never played Black Flag, and I just constantly get that thrown in my face. One day I'll get to that. But I hopped back in when Origins came out, because that was the first big jump into an RPG space where they really changed up the formula for Assassin's Creed. And that was a great time. I loved the history add-on with that, exploring Egypt, and they have the museum mode. You can go in and learn about all the locations, and it's like you're in a museum. It is like you're in a museum, so it's really neat. But overall, I love the fact they've leaned in to RPG things. And for example, Odyssey is probably Odyssey and Valhalla are my two favorite Assassin's Creed games, just because, not because they have beautiful women,
But they
promise,
do.
But they do.
but they do. I know I might be a little biased, but also like Cassandra's character is really, really interesting and well acted, well written for. It's such a good time. But they have like, you can romance people. That was the first one you could have romance in your game, in your Assassin's Creed journey, and also like dialogue choices. I don't know how much plays out, like the ramifications of your choices. Don't really remember much of that. And then of course Valhalla has been the latest one, and I simply love that game just because you get so much game for what you pay for. I remember literally playing that for hours. I have 100 hours plus in that game, and I could have added way more to that. And I didn't even touch the DLCs. But I always enjoy, and just thinking about Valhalla is how much they blend actual history into this weird Assassin's Creed narrative, and then just go a little even more bizarre. And now you got like Cassandra showing up in Valhalla, and that makes sense to the narrative. No, I didn't just download that experience to see them fight each other. They fight.
Is it hot?
It was beautiful. But then they get along.
Okay.
Do they kiss?
Yeah, it's great.
Let's go. If there's one thing I know about you, Jerica,
did they
it's that
kiss?
you love
I
fucking.
feel like they did kiss. They did, right? No, I don't
remember.
I don't know. I'm looking at Jake. I feel like he would know, but I should know.
I feel like that would have come across a feed even if I didn't play the game.
I remember them fighting, but
yeah,
fighting, kissing, same thing.
Sure. I've thought about this a lot in the last few days. Assassin's Creed might low-key be like a top 3 franchise for me. I've never missed one. I think the only game that in the franchise that I didn't finish was Valhalla, because it's just so fucking big. It's like the biggest game ever to exist. But I played it like 130 hours of it, but there was still more to do. But I remember, I was saying on stream earlier, I remember so vividly seeing the very first Assassin's Creed trailer, E3, whatever year that was, and they're in like Damascus, and Ezio, or not Ezio, Altair is riding the horse down, and he like jumps off the horse, he goes into the crowd, and I remember thinking like, this is actually the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was like, 13 or whatever, but I remember playing that game and loving it despite its flaws, and even thinking like, you know what, I bet this game could be even better, but what a perfect video game. And then 2 came out, and it was like, blew my fucking face off how good it was. The characters were so good in that one, and the world was so much more alive than the first one. And I also am one of the few, the proud, the sickos that love the present day story. Like, I wish that we got so much more of the present day stuff. I feel like Assassin's Creed was at its best when it was balancing an actual through line in the modern day story with Desmond with the past, and like finding hints as Ezio, and they pertain to the modern day. And like, I'll never forget the moment when you're playing the game and they're like, Desmond, I'm talking to you. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and Ezio has no idea what's happening because he's not the person receiving the message. So it's like, those are the moments that I yearn for still in Assassin's Creed, because we haven't got them in so long. So go ahead.
Do you think they get back to that with Shadows? Like, I feel like there is some kind of situation happening. Just how you're introduced to the story was unique to me. I don't know if, like, with your experience, if you can see
so
that.
far, I've not seen any more than what you've seen. It does, and from what I've heard around the internet, I don't think there's a ton more in this game. There is some, but like, I remember one thing that I really liked in Valhalla was those like, there were like puzzles throughout the world. There were like glitches in the Animus that would bring a little bit of the modern world into it. And like, I really liked that part of Valhalla. I was like, please bring me more of this. I like this, because like, there are so few, I think, franchises in video games that have such a long history, and like, in a way, they're all connected. Like, And I think of like a Call of Duty, they're often in different places or different settings, different time periods, that kind of thing. But like this, they're all connected via the Animus and via Abstergo. And it's like, there's such a cool opportunity here. But, you know, there's so many different people and teams and countries working on these games. It's hard to have an aligned vision. But I hope that we get back to a point where there is a modern day person like Desmond that matters, because I miss it so much. It was like a really unique thing about the game. Like that very first time booting up the game, the very first one, and thinking that I had the wrong, like something was wrong with the disc, because I was like, wait,
Dude,
I'm not in ancient whatever. I'm in a computer lab. Like one of the coolest moments for me. So yeah, all of that to say, I've been so excited about Shadows, you know, cautiously optimistic, because it's been a while since an Assassin's Creed has really hit for me. The last one I would say was Odyssey, and even that, like, I had some issues with it, like how big it was. But I everything else you said, Jerica, totally agree with. Cassandra was the fucking best. Loved the way that the narrative went, but it was even still a little too big for me. So I'm hoping that this game gets to that point, because the setting, it's already so gorgeous in Shadows. Like all of the, like the countryside and the rolling hills and climbing the structures, and it just looks so unique compared to other Assassin's Creed games. I'm just glad that we're finally in Japan, because like you said earlier, Jericho, like this is where everyone's wanted to go. So we're finally here, and it feels good.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on the modern day setting thing real quick, which maybe transitions us into like talking a little bit about the table setting for Shadows, is I think we're unfortunately fucked in that regard.
Yeah.
And the reason is because this game, which is I think hasn't really been talked about all that much in like pre-review embargo stuff, is that this launched the like Assassin's Creed social hub, essentially, which is bare bones right now, but it's basically the launcher for your Assassin's Creed games, for Mirage, Odyssey, Origins, Valhalla, and now Shadows. So you have 5 games that you can launch from there if you own them on
like
your
Call
system.
of Duty.
It is exactly like Call of Duty, which strikes fear in me when it comes to like, how do I download the new Warzone? And you have to figure out like what you're like. Oh,
I was
God,
instantly a little triggered. I'm like, oh, this is what this is. I thought it was something else. I thought this was gonna be like a video of my past.
Yeah,
to help me remember. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, no, it's wanting me to boot the game up. Nah.
Yeah. It does have like the makings. Like I think it's a slick menu system, and like there is something really cool about scrolling through and seeing all the assassins like listed out there. I'm like, oh, those are my friends. I love playing as these guys. But I think that we're probably living in a world where our like future Animus timeline is like, sign in your Ubisoft Connect to join the Animus with your friends and have emotes and wear a Adidas sweater, and then tap into the game experiences you love. Like I think that's our future for that. I don't think we're getting Desmond back anytime soon.
Unfortunately, I agree. I feel like the time for them to have done something cool with the modern day is about 12 years past at this point. With the way that like the industry and also just like tech as a whole is going with things like fucking meta, it's like we're cooked. Like we're like Sirius in the chat said the Animus such a heater of an idea, but I don't see them ever getting to a point where because the truth is the vast majority of gamers are loudly against the Animus. They're like, fuck the modern day shit, just put me in the past, which I think is stupid, but it's the truth. Like I feel like there's very few people that care at all about the present day Abstergo stuff. So
gamers and being stupid, name a more iconic duo. Before we get too far off, can we just reminisce a little bit about, I don't know, I think it's the secret ending for 2 or maybe like the post-credit scene. Can we just talk about that Adam and Eve scene of like the dream of like, are we eventually going to get a futuristic Assassin's Creed where you're running around this world? Like,
it's all I wanted.
I know.
Everybody wanted feudal Japan.
Off the table.
I wanted modern day or future setting.
Because like you think about like I was hoping they would maybe get inspired, because I thought about that. Then you've reminded me, like when after even Cyberpunk came out, and I'm like, man, this would be cool for Assassin's Creed to go lean heavily into the future. Like I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, especially like I think Japan was like the biggest historical location that like I don't hear about any other places. Any other historical landmarks or time frames people want to visit? I don't hear much about anything else.
There are no more.
it should be the future. Yeah, I definitely think that's possible.
Well, I also feel like, and we're getting off topic, so at some point someone's be like, Patrick, shut the fuck up. But I think when the first Watch Dogs came out, I think that was them like dipping their toe in a modern day Assassin's Creed, because the games were connected. There was like Abstergo was in the game. There were a few little hints throughout Watch Dogs, and then that franchise is so dead. Like the third game, Legion, just completely killed that franchise. So I feel like that was our hope, and it didn't work.
Legion's like visual aesthetic is like top 3 worst decisions in the history of games. Like everyone's wearing like pig masks.
Yeah,
and, like,
It remind me more of that, like what's the other Grand Theft Auto esque game?
Oh,
Saints Row.
Yeah, Saints Row.
That's it. It's very it reminds me of that sort of like repaint situation. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely get it.
Never wanted to play because of that.
We're so fucking far off. Real quick, just like
I know.
Now that we know, we have 3 Assassins. Now that Shadows is out, we have Project Jade, which is China, which is for mobile phones, which will probably find its way to consoles in some way, or Steam or something like that. And then we have Hexy
or Hexe. I forget how.
Yep,
it's definitely not just Hex.
Like Witch Trials, like Northeastern Massachusetts, I think.
Yeah, it seems to be the rumor. Yeah.
What's left on the list? I, for one, am really excited for Assassin's Creed Gaza Strip. I'm just
Jesus fucking Christ.
I've been sitting on that for a while. I thought it would be good. It didn't go that well.
It didn't go well.
All right, where do you guys want to see Assassin's Creed go?
What about Florida?
Well, now we're talking.
Let's go to Florida.
All right, here's because you brought it up, Jake, I'm addressing it. If we go there, let me fucking assassinate Netanyahu. That's my official position. Okay? That's my official position. Sue me.
Oh my fucking god.
Let's see what else. I mean, there's so much of Europe that, we've been to a lot of Europe, but I feel like there's like the entire peninsula of Spain, Portugal. We've not really gone to very much. Russia. There's a we went to Russia, India, and China already with the side-scrolling ones. But
those don't count.
But those don't count. No one counts those. Africa. We've not done an Africa one.
I think that'd be really cool.
That could be cool.
Well, we did Egypt.
Oh, right. That's on me. I'm an idiot.
It's like the only geographical thing I've ever gotten right on this podcast. So I thought Portugal was in South America on stream last week. So
well, there you go.
Things are going great for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Past that, it's hard to. I guess it's just like other time periods.
Would Brazil be cool?
This is
something Central American. Like I'm just thinking like Aztec, like or Mayan ruins type stuff. Could be like really cool to traverse. Yeah. I don't know how bustling those cities were. Probably pretty bustling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's something. Assassin's Creed Apocalypto.
Oh, Mel Gibson back on the Jew hating train.
Jeez.
I walked into that one. I walked into that one.
God.
Again, I am Jewish on all 4 grandparents, fully Jewish. I'm as Jewish as they come. I can say it.
JakeTwitchin, as Jewish as they come. Colemine says Machu Picchu. Now that's interesting.
Oh.
I'm so turned around right now.
Yeah, that's where do we go? Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
This needs to be another episode at some point, boys. Or do we take Assassin's Creed? Get out a history book in a timeline.
This is now drop Assassin. I don't know. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows and the time that we've spent with it. Let's get into our actual quote unquote review, even though we're lying a little bit about it being a review.
Well, sure. Okay, question for you guys. How did you guys get to the point in which you can go do whatever you want?
No.
Yes.
Jake, in that time, what did you do? What did you find? What jumped out to you in that time?
I'm a pretty golden path boy when it comes to these games, where I know what happens. I have found myself too many times in open world games, when they give you the decision at the beginning, do you want to go guided or not? I'm like, I want to go extra guided. I want you to point me in the direction of where to go at all times. And when I got to that point, I was very much okay, let's just go and pick up the next story quest and we'll see if there's anything that interests us along the way. And the thing that can happen to me is I can like very easily get sidetracked, do too many side quests in the first quarter of the game. And then by the time I get halfway through it, I'm like, damn, I'm already 40 hours into this shit. And I'm only halfway through the fucking thing. And I don't want to do side quests anymore. And I'm over leveled and it can all get kind of messy. So I try to just stick golden path unless I find myself under leveled, and then I'll teeter off if I need to. So for the most part, I stayed on the path, but did try to do like I always call it like the Breath of the Wild thing for me, because that's the one that kind of pulled me in to this like method of like, if something looks really interesting, I'll go to it, but only if it looks really interesting. And there were a couple shrines and stuff, and one of my hottest moments so far that I really want to talk about is some of the time frame and flashbacky stuff, which has been really cool. But yeah, that's what I did, is I pretty much stayed on the golden path.
Cool. I'm so interested in more of the flashback stuff. I've only gotten one so far, and it was pretty soon after. We probably got the same one, in fact. But there's like a shrine or a little like prayer spot that you go to, and you like clap your hands at certain. It's like if it's a little mini game, you're supposed to like clap your hands on the beat for a bit, because they got to make it a little mini game. And then if you clap right, then you go into the past. And I want more of that, because that was really interesting. And I think this game so far to me is at its best when it's feeding me the narrative. Because I'm really interested in Naoe's kind of journey becoming a shinobi, and really interesting relationship with her father and like that whole side of it. So like, give me more.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear that, Patrick, you're enjoying the stories so far, because like I know I'm not as far in, so I'm sure it picks up a little bit, but that is one thing off the like just starting out, that it's not gripping me as quickly as I've been gripped before.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just how some of the characters are introduced. I think it's just my lack of understanding of what's happening, probably, and just being a derp. But I'm interested to see like maybe why I feel a little kept on the path right now, and I don't like I can't. I'm like, where is my skill tree? So I'm like, maybe I was saying on stream, I'm like, I just need the game's trying to show me how to play. Let me stay in my lane and try not to overstep or get distracted by something, because I don't know, I think I'm sort of hurting myself by doing that.
Yeah, it was a bit heavy on the tutorializing for sure. But I felt, for me, I in ways like that, because it's been a minute since I played this type of Assassin's Creed, and the last one I did was Mirage, which is, the combat just feels a good bit different in Mirage compared to Shadows. It's not as fluid, and because they kind of went back to the old feel of it, of very much like you're surrounded by 7 people and you're just like kind of countering each of them, kind of thing, which is fun. But this is much more actiony, much more parry focused, role focused, like you said earlier. But something that I'm having a lot of trouble with so far is the objectives in this game. I think this might be exactly why you're bringing that part of the B-roll up, Jake, of that it's doing this thing where, even though Ubisoft loves to put little dots all over the map to say, go say hi to this chicken, go clap here, go do all these things, this game is like not often telling you where to go for actual objectives. Instead, as you can see in the B-roll, it gives you a couple hints as to where this person is. And once you get close to that area, then it'll pop up onto your map. And I'm finding that to be a little frustrating, where like, there's so much to do in this game. And I'm at a point now where like, I used to want 100% all of these games, but it's hard to do that these days. So I'm going to probably more mainline this game than not. And I'm like getting frustrated, just not even knowing where to go at times, because I'm like, I want to kill the executioner, but where the fuck's the executioner, people? Are you having this trouble, Jake?
No, I haven't had enough time on the main path, I don't think, to really have like a say as far as that goes. Mine was pretty straightforward. I think my first like only mission that I did was like go talk to the henchman or whatever the fuck they wanted me to talk to in that scenario.
I feel like this was similar to like previous games though, with like some of the like side baddies that you're trying to like. I don't think I might just be misremembering, but I feel like they didn't give you all the facts But maybe it was easier to find. Like, I feel like this was something they've done before.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think especially with it's either Odyssey or Valhalla where they don't necessarily just give it to you, but I feel like getting to it felt easier than to me, or maybe I'm just totally misremembering and it's been long enough that this feels new to me and I'm pissed.
Well, maybe
As a
we don't want to be a detective right now.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to be a samurai.
Yeah.
as the authority on baddies around here,
Oh God.
I just really think I buzzed myself for the record. That was dramatic effect. I do kind of like that. In Mirage, it was really satisfying to like find out more about so and so, but I think it gets by on that because the scope of Mirage was so small and
Sure.
focused, where like there was less ground to cover and less room for error as far as being like, where the fuck do I go? Because I am the first person to be like, this guy's not here. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be right now and get frustrated with it. But yeah, I was surprised, and sorry if I'm getting like off topic going back to the last one. I was surprised at how many times I did get pulled off of the golden path just going to my first objective.
Sure.
And I want to circle back to the flashback stories a little bit, just because I really like the progression, the way that it seems to work. And correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick, you're a little further than me, but every time it seems like we are advancing 3 stories in this game. And I have only accessed 2 of the 3 stories because I don't have Yasuke unlocked yet. It seems like there is a large amount of time after the intro that you just play as Naue.
Yes.
And then Yasuke is like unlocked later on. And then you have your dual protagonist type setup. But I'm pretty sure you have like I don't want to say like modern day, but like current day for Naue and Yasuke, where they are working together parallel on like your main story quest, if you will. But then you're also going through a quest line that is flashbacks for Naue and a storyline that is flashbacks for Yasuke. So the way that you progress these seems to be going to those meditation spots. So every time you find one of those meditation spots in the world, you are able to do your meditation and then flash back to Naue's individual flashback story, which I've now done, I think, 2 or 3 entries in so far.
Okay.
Which is cool that I can progress it that way, because for somebody who likes to avoid side quests at any cost, these don't feel as side questy. They feel integral to the story. I'm learning more about my protagonists, and they are allowing me to get off the beaten path, but still advance what I know about these stories, as opposed to being about like NPCs or experiences in the world, which speaks to me more. Patrick, if I can extremely slight, like not even spoilers, I'm not even going to preface this. Did yours have like the bridge scene?
Yes. With the where the guy's under the bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was, I experienced what I would call probably my favorite moment in a modern Assassin's Creed game. Like, I don't know how you felt about it, but I was pretty impressed with the way that scene played out. There was crazy music kicked in. It reminded me of like the final fight in Kill Bill Volume 1 with like the way that like the kind of like Japanese style rock ska music was playing, and like there's all kinds of badassery happening and what appears to be a league of assassins like coming to light. Just really cool badassery, man, happening like within like the first, like during like basically the prologue. It's the first time that you flash back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I did really like that. Although I'm very interested to see if we get more of that like anachronistic music, because I got a little bit of whiplash, because it was like out of nowhere, all of a sudden we're getting like, oh, these are like electric instruments all of a sudden in the music. And I'm like, wait, I thought I was in like 1590 or something. But by the time that sequence was over, I was like, okay, I'm kind of settling into this, but just like out of nowhere, this battle starts, and it's, I don't even remember how like the tune went, but
well,
so I'm interested to see if they bring that back.
Of like, did you guys play Final Fantasy 16?
Yeah. Joshua.
Like, Joshua. My brother. It reminded me of like getting into like that Titan fight, you know, where like I'm like, what the fuck is playing right now? Like, this is so sick. Like, it feels like maybe it's wrong, but then as it's happening, you're like, oh no, wait, this is kind of right. Like, it was really cool.
Final Final
That's what I'm
Fantasy
doing tonight.
16 out of 100? Would we say
16 out of 10.
that?
No,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 16 is like a solid 8 for me.
Sure. 16 divided by 2 out of 10?
Correct.
There we go. We got there.
Correct.
We got there. What else? Jerica, anything else on your mind about Assassin's Creed Shadows?
At this point, not really. I'm just interested because I was like, I'm not gonna start comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima, and then I didn't get into that conversation for a reason because I didn't want to start that conversation now. But like, for y'all, like the one thing that I know that's unique to Ghost, and I know they're two different games, or Assassin's Creed is gonna do its own thing. It's gonna Assassin's Creed, and I'm really thankful Ghost exists. And the thing that I know is going to be a difference. I haven't gotten that far, but I love all the stances you get in Ghost of Tsushima and like how that changes up like how you fight. Because like I remember Ghost of Tsushima being a pretty difficult game, and it's one that I just can't pick up and start playing again. It's sort of like Horizon. Like DLC comes out, so I hop back in and I'm like, oh my god, I can't play this anymore. And that's how I was with Ghost when the DLC dropped. Like I was just getting murdered left and right. So I'm interested to see like I know Ubisoft going into it was like, how do we make sure that we know, like, do they keep to the Assassin's Creed DNA, or are they going to try to innovate with something, which I think they are with the two very different characters, but I don't know. Did they do anything like Ghost does with like stances or your skill tree or anything like that?
So they don't with Naue. There are two different weapons, which it took me a while to realize that you can, from the jump, equip a second weapon. It's a Tonto, I think is what it's called. It's like it's like longer than a dagger, but shorter than a sword. And it's like a little bit more of a faster type situation than your katana. But I feel like if they're going to do that, it'll probably be with Yasuke because he's actually a samurai where she's a shinobi.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be interesting because I feel like that is, historically accurate that there are different, but then again, like with that game, some of the different stances also were like different types of warriors. Like there was the Ronin stance because Ronin are their own thing from samurai. So maybe that was unique in Ghost because I don't know.
Saying they'll bring the stances to Assassin's Creed, but like I wonder what will be their thing to make this different.
Sure,
you know what I'm
I
saying?
see what you're saying.
I didn't set that question or that explanation up exactly.
No. I think that they kind of do that just through the dual protagonists is what I feel like. Just from my limited time with Yasuke, it feels like in the other Assassin's Creed there were some pretty daunting skill trees where you could really build your character how you saw fit, and I think in this one you kind of have like an archetype that you probably already know after that prologue which character you're going to lean towards. Like I am very much like a kick in the door and punch everything in the face type of person, where if you're like a hardcore stealth person, maybe you lean more towards Naue. But the one thing that I talked about quite a bit as I was getting like towards the end of my experience with the game, when I was starting to get a bit more fluent with the combat, was I made a comparison to another beloved Ubisoft franchise, hashtag Ubisoft partner, Splinter Cell, where those first 4 Splinter Cell games, the first 3, and then Double Agent kind of sucks. Ubisoft partner, I'm sorry. Conviction and Blacklist did a thing where I don't know if either of you guys have played those games.
Yeah,
they hold up and they're dope. Where they kind of replaced like stealth with speed in some ways was like their big like selling point. Where as opposed to just being quiet and like slowly moving around, you could do some faster takedowns and things like that. And the way that Assassin's Creed Shadows feels to me combat wise is it feels like the other Assassin's Creed, but a little like it just everything feels like I feel like I move around. I feel a bit more like a ninja than an assassin as Naue, and I like that a lot. Where it doesn't feel painstaking to like creep through the tall grass, and it doesn't feel miserably long to do in like an assassination animation. Like everything feels really fluid and nice, and it's like you're saying with like just the frame rate, like that. This game feels smooth and like cool. Like I feel badass a lot while I'm playing it.
Yeah, I can definitely see, especially on Naue's side, where like as I was playing, I was like, I bet there's going to be a skill that I unlock where I can assassinate somebody, and then whether I throw a kunai or whether I just like dash to a second person to kill them, and then like could there be 3 or 4 or 5? I can already kind of start to see where I would expect them to take the skill tree, because yeah, like it's obvious once you start getting into, like I said, with that 90-minute just pounding my head against brick trying to get through this situation. It's like, this is a situation meant for Yasuke. Like, I probably should have stopped playing this section and moved on and gone to my actual objective because of the sheer amount of enemies. I bet they wanted me to do this with the guy that could actually kill them all.
Right.
Because with Naue, at least in my experience so far, once you start getting to 3 people, it becomes very difficult to survive.
Run away.
And sometimes, like, if they're all base level, usually I can get out of it. But if any of them are elite or anything like that, it's like, all right, I'm fucked. Because I'm also interested to see if we're going to be getting like a bow or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, if you haven't gotten one yet, I'm scared.
Sure.
But like, maybe, I don't know, like, you're teased, I can't remember the guy's name. I'm sorry. Yosuke. I always get it confused with that character off Naruto because my girlfriend's been watching it. So I'm just probably going to be saying that instead. You're just sort of teased with like being such a powerhouse at the beginning, and then that's sort of like stripped away from you. Played as Naue now. I just wonder if is there a switch later coming for her where you're gonna want to feel the opposite? Like you're gonna want to play more with her.
Sure.
Like, what are those upgrade options gonna look like? It just seems like they're just if they're not here in the game, they're here much later. But that might be maybe tied to the story. Maybe that makes sense later. I don't know. But she needs a bow. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
I
think I was just gonna say with Yasuke, I just wanted to just talk about a couple of satisfying things that I experienced in this first couple.
Talk to me about your
hours.
Satisfaction.
My satisfaction levels are high. Oh my god, when you get your first assassination, the screen like splatters with blood.
We haven't even talked about like the special moves where it goes black and white and only
and then like the splash of like red, and then but also they try to do like a stylistic thing where they change like the framing changes and then it goes like black, red, and then white, and then it just like turns all white, and then the blood splashes and it just looks like fucking splatter all over.
Jeez.
Just listen,
God.
when you watch somebody get assassinated, just think in your head, now that it's living there in the back of your head, everybody that's watching this after the fact, I'm so sorry for ruining it for you, but there's a lot of cum happening in these.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well,
but when you played as Yasuke, did you happen to do his other move? They give you the tutorial of like hold right trigger and then press triangle to do like your dash, but you also had another move during that combat scene where if you held right trigger you could hit square, and it was his kick.
Yes, and you just launch them like 25 feet back.
Oh my god, dude, it is like a full on like B movie karate kick. Like poof, you absolutely launch these people, and it is so like off the screen because the camera is kind of centered on you. Like I feel like it's closer up sometimes than a lot of Assassin's Creed games of the past. And when you hit this dude, he just flies so fast off the fucking screen. It's unbelievable. It's so unbelievable. Good. It felt great.
I was upgrading Naue. I was just so kind of like locked in. I didn't realize I had accrued like 6 upgrade points. So I was like, oh, okay, I need to go spin these. And I noticed there was one that cost 5. So I was like, okay, this must be a good one if it costs 5, because most things at the beginning cost 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized this was a new special move for a different weapon. And that's when I was like, oh, wait a second. I must have a second weapon if I can do. And so I went in my inventory. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. There's another weapon. But that one's really cool where with the other blade, you like throw it at them and then you like kind of dash up to them and grab it and like start stabbing them in the side. And it's one of those things.
Cool.
It just feels, it's just so satisfying to do. I don't quite understand the progression of getting the upgrades in combat. Like, is it just going without getting hit? Is it just number of hits? I'm unclear on how that works quite yet, but there's some sort of time happening of you can't just, keep using the special moves, but so there's some like things that I still need to tweak with the gameplay, but when this game feels good, it feels so fucking good.
Yeah. For satisfying things that Jerica might have experienced, did you get some time with the grappling hook?
Yes, it was a surprise when I got that. I was like, I didn't know that was in the game. I missed that. Because I like to sort of I like to know a little bit, but I also like to not know everything about every new game that's coming out. I like to be surprised a little bit. So I sort of toned down me looking at any previews of it. So that was a nice little surprise when that unlocked in. Yeah, it's a different layer to storming the fortress, forts, I guess. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
officially called in Japan. The
Yeah.
home bases.
It might be a palace. It might be a castle.
Thank
It
you.
depends.
Yes, that sounds
Ooh.
yeah, okay.
Um,
So yeah, and this is part of like some of this. I want to see what tools. What else does she get that's neat? You know.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope it's
The
more.
kunai, very satisfying for me.
Very satisfying.
The most satisfying thing that happened in the entire game, and that they kind of tutorialize you on eventually. So like, I feel like it's literally to like show off this mechanic, like look how cool the slicing is. But I did it accidentally with Yasuke, where I was fighting somebody down in like that initial siege, and I just I
Oh
sliced
shit!
a barrel. I sliced a barrel, and this thing just like sliced perfectly down the middle. And then I sliced again, and it like shaved a little bit off the top. And I was like, oh my God. And then I started just like slicing and dicing this barrel up in such like perfect like, I don't know what kind of physics you would describe this as, but wherever you sliced, the barrel broke apart, and it was so fucking satisfying. And they show you how to do that with the bamboo later on as well,
Cool.
which is great. Really cool stuff.
There was some weapon that none of us have gotten yet that Naue brought out. It's just like a chain that she threw it like scorpion style so I can't wait for that, whatever that is.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, she's still got some tricks up her sleeve.
She does.
So.
She does. And I'm excited to get to them. Man, there was one other thing that you were talking about. Slicing things, satisfying things.
Who could tell? There's so many of them.
There's so many of them. I can't find it. And
I will say the horse mechanics are really good in this game. I was saying that in my playthrough. You know, I always like to judge how easy the horse is to ride. And the horse, I don't know if y'all gotten off the road at all.
Yeah.
Horse don't get stuck. It's really nice.
No, horse pretty good. You know what's missing though? Or maybe I just haven't unlocked it. I used to really love setting a waypoint and then setting my horse to just fucking go there. And then I would kind of like kick back, send a message on my phone, take a peek, and like the camera is going crazy and like showing scenic views. But I don't think that exists now.
That'd be surprising because they have like where you could, I know I saw you could click to follow like certain NPCs, which is really dope. It would be, it's gotta be in there. It's gotta be in there.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe I have to get like a horse trainer.
Yeah, might be a part of the skill tree too.
Yeah, teach it the scent.
I don't remember that in the last Assassin's Creed games
I definitely remember it from Origins and Valhalla for sure.
Hey, I'm getting old. What can I say?
Yeah, I get it.
I remember it very vividly in Red Dead Redemption 2 because it's all you fucking did in that game. Was just watch
great
fucking
horse.
scenic
That's 10 out of 10 horse right there. It even has balls and it poops.
It does, and it does.
That's what makes it a 10 out of 10.
Talk to us about a demon. What about the demon beast, the dragon beast?
Now the dragon beast. Now that is something. So with the game provided by Ubisoft, #Ubisoft partner, they gave us the deluxe edition, and with that came some like pre-order bonus cosmetics, and you can get your sword to have this like magic aura around it. You can get this armor that looks like it should be level 150, and then you can get on this giant fucking demon beast that has this giant tail, huge horns. Like it looks so goofy, and it's just so funny. It's so funny that no one comments on it at all. You'll be like going through a town, and it's just like as if it's very normal that there's this giant demon fucking dragon beast just waltzing through with a assassin from the future on back of it. It's very good. But then again, it's like this game, they're not hiding the fact that we're replaying memories. So it's like they kind of get a pass to do crazy fuck shit because it's not like we're playing an actual real thing, right? It's like the point is that it's a simulation. So who's to say someone didn't put some code in the simulation? You know what I'm saying, Jake?
So true. I'm gonna put code in my simulation.
Yeah, you are.
Blaster
Goblin in the chat says, I don't play Assassin's Creed, but the 3 TikToks I saw, I hope one of them was ours, made the armor buff system look pretty whack. Is it whack? Do you really need to switch hats on the fly to assassinate better? I don't think so. I think this game does a very good job of with a transmog system. So you can have, whatever hat that you want it to be. But like, I have not noticed in terms of certain things having that much more power than other things. So far, not in my experience.
Wonder if the difficulty changes any of that because I'm playing on normal. You know,
Oh,
I haven't.
sure.
I don't know if either of y'all are playing on a more of a challenging
Just normal.
mode.
I'm on lower. I'm on easy.
Yeah, you are. You are so easy.
Jake's easy.
Dude, it's the way to be. I can't imagine trying to fucking work for it.
Yeah.
36 years old. I got a life.
Let's go. Any other final thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows in this bonus drop episode game provided by Ubisoft?
I'm ready to hear this music under the bridge, whatever memory
Yeah, you
that
gotta
is.
get
That's
back
what I
on
want to
there.
get to.
Comment below if you heard the music under the bridge.
Let's go. Okay, well, that is our thoughts on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Thank you again to our friends at Ubisoft for providing the code. We will be playing it more off the channel and on the channel. The current plan is for there to be more Assassin's Creed Shadows streams, most likely Saturday, but maybe we'll sneak in another stream before Saturday. I know Jake's going to be streaming it on his channel, twitch.tv/JakeTwitchin. Jerica, maybe you're going to be on JK Games Podcast. Who's to say? But let's go around the horn, plug what we want to plug, tell the folks to go where we want to tell them to go. Jerica, let's start with you.
Since we're talking Assassin's Creed, you can definitely find me streaming that at JK Games Podcast. Do that. I'll make sure to put in the notification Jerica is in the shadows. That's exactly what I'll put, so you'll know what I'm doing.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
Jake?
I am JakeTwitchin on all platforms, but if you deem that difficult, you can just go to amazingstreamer.com and find everything you need to find for your JakeTwitchin needs. But maybe you should just go to dropindropoutpod.com, and that will get you to where everybody is, as well as ways to support us on other platforms, and a link to amazingstreamer.com even. Fucking crazy.
Wow.
Living in the future.
I'm going to be naughty. I remember the thing I couldn't remember, even though we're outdoing the show.
Bring it back.
I'm bringing it back. I remember being so excited during the reveals of this game when they showed Naui with her little reed pipe under the water, like breathing while hiding.
Oh yeah.
And so it was the very first thing I unlocked because I saw that I could, but I've not been able to use it yet. I'm like going out of my way to try to find places like, does this place have water? Because I want to use the fucking thing because I think it looks so fucking cool. But
yeah,
I have yet to be able to use it. But that could be the coolest feature in a video game ever if it works the way it looks like it's going to work.
That is red.
I'll report back. If you have played with the reed pipe, let me know. Comment below, like, subscribe, share, send us money. All right, that's it for us. You can follow me at Pishwazi, or like Jake said, go to dropoutpod.com. There you can find all of the different things we're doing. We got Spotlight Games Podcast, we got JK Games Podcast, we got JakeTwitchin, we got the Dumpster Boy streams on Sunday afternoons, we got GWC Mori, I might have already said that, and we got video essays from Cognitive Clips. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, thank you to Ubiquitous Software for providing the game codes to the three of us. Until next time, we will be back tomorrow night with a special Save Trash Cinema episode of Drop In, Drop Out Pod. If you didn't watch Mortal Kombat on Jake's stream on Monday, you have 24 hours to go watch the 1995 motion picture Mortal Kombat. So go watch that because it's going to be a fun time. No one is prepared. Let me just say, no one is prepared for what's going to happen on this channel in less than 24 hours. But we will see you then. And if we don't, I will take it personally. Bye.